You simply can't imagine that the barely breathing monster, with just a roar from the equally dying man, instantly came back to life, brimming with energy. Immediately after, it launched an attack on the soldiers, and in the blink of an eye, all the soldiers were slaughtered. The man, severely injured, had already lost consciousness. At the same time, the monster staggered toward him. Tina, who had witnessed this, was so terrified that she dared not move. Then, the monster burrowed into Peter's body. As soon as the monster entered his body, Peter woke up immediately because they had long formed a symbiotic relationship and simply couldn't be apart from each other for long. This ferocious parasitic monster had actually snuck onto Peter during an attack while he and his companions were on a space mission and was brought back to Earth without his knowledge. After being severely injured, Peter was confined to a military base as soon as the space capsule landed, but he never understood why they kept him locked up. Late at night, Tina was summoned to the laboratory by the general, who had invited her under the pretext of treating Peter. What she didn't know was that the general had a more complex agenda than just a medical consultation. Before entering the laboratory, the general stared intently at his watch and then signaled the soldiers to lower the bulletproof glass door to Peter's room. Soon, Peter's body began to convulse, as if something was inside him, making all sorts of eerie movements. Suddenly, he jumped off the bed and vomited a pool of blood. At that moment, Peter struggled to open his mouth, and to everyone's astonishment, an arm grew out of it. A thick, fleshy limb slowly dropped out. With the monster's departure, Peter fainted once more. The monster quickly broke free from its fetal membrane. It had long arms like a human, and its entire body grew rapidly in an instant. At that moment, Tina, who had been standing outside, mustered up the courage to approach the door for a closer look. The monster stood up as well, which made Tina retreat immediately. After a moment, she cautiously inched closer again, and the monster kept its gaze on her. Tina slowly reached out and touched the bulletproof glass. Seeing that the monster didn't react, she let out a sigh of relief. The quiet monster also looked at her curiously. Suddenly, the monster's movement sent Tina into a panic, and she shrank back outside in terror. Frightened, Tina turned to the general and asked what on earth that thing was. The general didn't know the exact species either, but he was aware that it was a parasite living inside Peter. This monster had made Peter's physical condition better than it had ever been before, and it didn't harm its host whether it entered or left the human body. But Peter, who was always lively and energetic every day, had no idea that there was a monster living inside him.